Okay, fáilte arás. So, it's a curb-off, as you can probably hear. It's raining a bit. I had planned to give the owner a quick call this evening after bringing it for a test drive. So I'm not doing that when it's peeing rain, so I'm going to adjust the clutch. So what I do to adjust the clutch is I put a bungee down to the clutch pedal. This clutch is fairly worn. As soon as you lift it at all, the tractor jumps forward. So I want to adjust it a little bit better. So I'm going to, usually they say about 3/8 of an inch of free play is perfect. But to be honest with you, it's in around that at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this bolt in under here, which is about 7 mil. So 3/8 is about 10 mil. So we're going to just try it. This is probably just going to bring it about 3 mil less, but I'm going to just take it slowly. So you put on your 11/16 spanner there. Yeah, right above. That's tight. So might need to get let's get a heavier and make it an extension on that. Right, we'll put the extension on, loosen it, and everything will probably going to fly off there when we loosen it. The spanner could go moving forward or whatever. Okay, that should help. 3/8, so it should be enough. I'm just going to mark that with tip X first, just to show where we start. Just put a quick little dot, quick little line here where I was. Often handy little things, them tip X pens for this kind of job. Good chance it's actually fairly solid in there. So I always get confused now what way, because usually these are loose and you can work out which way they're meant to go. So I might get a hammer and tap that. Usually when you loosen off the clamp on it there, the shaft itself will move like that. Now, when we move the shaft on, Jesus Christ. So let's see what sort of we have loads of free play there. So that's the max free play. Send that off a bit more. Bring that free play back now. Okay, so that's okay. That's our max free play. So that's no free play there. So we'll hold that spanner, hold it towards the front of the tractor, and we'll adjust the free play we want to put in it. So we'll put about 7 mil in it there. Pull up our pedal and then pull this back towards the front of the tractor and give it a nip. Take off that's still too much. Okay, so I always find a bit of playing around with this, but that's what it's all about. Remember the gold belly, right? I just want a little bit less on it if possible. That's a bit more like there now, I'd say. It's a lot less. Just going to make sure it's not in contact with the fingers. Probably is, yeah. Fingers on the pressure plate. You don't want the release bearing being in contact there to wear it out quick. So I'll give it a little bit more free play, clearance, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes you just have to go by feel. So I'm going to go with that. Think of me. We'll give it a start, cold start, and see. I have to take that free play out of it, a lot of it out of it. But we'll know now in a minute when we fire it up and see what's what. See if we're able to disengage the PTO and try it. I have to be very careful here now, because I don't want this thing driving forward. That's the last thing I want, isn't it? Not controllable. I need to know Stephen and everything. It wouldn't be ideal. Yeah, I don't know, is that tightened up enough? So you can hear, you press that down to the floor and you try to put your PTO in, you can hear a little grind. Unless you wait and wait and wait and wait. So let's do it now. Well, that's not too bad now. It was grinding a bit there. That was my fault. It wasn't lined up. That's okay. And that's going in smooth. Coming out, no bother. I wouldn't like to adjust it any less. So what I'll do is I'll put the seat on quickly, and right in the middle of the two tractors that I don't want to go driving into, but we'll be able to stop there, full stop. But before I do this, just to be safe, I didn't put a split pin in the pull stop lever. I'm going to do that now because, no my luck, if I had to stop it, I pulled the pull stop and I wouldn't. It would come out and I'd be at nothing. And I don't know how good the brakes are. So I'm going to put that in so at least I know when I pull that, if I have to stop it, it will stop. I got split pin in on the pull stop lever, so we can definitely get this thing stopped if we need it to. Seats back on. So we'll try it for gears here first. Going in lovely. Right. Right, so same story. As soon as you let up the clutch at all, it bites. So I just think the pressure plate is worn in it, really. Just want to make sure when I press down, I'll feel the vibrations of catching the release bearing. Just want to make sure there's enough there. So it's vibrating my hand there now. Make sure it's not vibrating. I want to get it up as high. Vibrating there. You actually see it moving there. Put the camera down here. It's not helpful actually with the camera. So you can see it shaking there. Definitely still air in the system, I noticed, but I did that little bleed there to injectors. I think that's probably as much as we can. As soon as I lift that down, there it's vibrating there. It's rubbing. I think that's probably the best we're going to get that clutch to. So I just want to give the injectors a bleed now, because I think that little bit of air from messing with this has made its way up. So we'll give that a bleed. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. That's the best I'm going to be able to do with that without splitting it and putting on a new clutch. So we'll see what the owner thinks. Put the battery from that into my own tractor, so it'll be interesting to see how it starts. I'm going to try and bring it up the other tractor up for the road now for a spin. So we'll just see here how it starts. This is not hard to start, this tractor, but still it'll be interesting to see if it spins it quickly. Okay, so that battery actually isn't that bad. It's about 85% the power of that. It definitely turned it over good enough anyway. So all I'll do is move this out of the way and bring this for a spin. I have my screwdriver for bleeding the pump just in case I need it, and we have our 11/16 for doing the injector. So we'll see how that goes. So what can we say? Well, I got in top gear, gave it a bit of a rev. Only one wheel is braking, so one wheel is not working at all, and I would say it's this one here, but sure, it's any wonder when you see this is meant to be up. That's all seized in there, that knuckle in there, so I'll have to take all that apart. The clutch, I don't think we have any choice but to split the tractor and do the clutch. When I put it into top gear, let up the clutch in the driveway there, it starts hopping, and that's a sign that it's just worn. Apart from that, it has good revs. It could do a little bit more rev on the, a little bit more. So what we do there is we can adjust that on that lad in there. We're gonna have the lock nut tighten up on that, so I think it's 7/16. We've got to lengthen him down. So, a little bit tight for space now with all the parts, but we'll get it. Well, that's that loosened there, top. That's our lock nut there, and then twist him down a bit. One turn, tighten up the lock nut, and we'll test that again. The next time I'm testing this, I will see how that's it. Where's our torch? I think it's going to be new thermostat housing. Not too bad now, but it was dripping like hell. So I just tightened them up again, but look, I think there's only so much tightening you can do. before you end up with it leaking there anyway, so I can't seem to stop it. I'll flatten it as much as I can. I'll take it off and flatten it one more time, no problem at all. But I think we're wasting our time. And even this side here is leaking there in the middle, so it's a good one. Yeah. So there we go. There's our findings. The clutch is that's adjusted up to the very last, and yeah, it's not nice. Even sometimes when you put it in gear, your input shaft's still turning a little bit and it jumps forward a little bit. Just not nice feeling. So yeah, I'll let the owner know anyway, and we'll see what he wants to do. Thermostat housing's off again. Yeah, I think I'll just run it past him to get a new one of them, because I actually tried another gasket on and tightened it up and it ran out of it. So yes, so now what I'm going to do is another thing that was on his mind, right? Because I'm kind of I need to take a break from that and I need to run it past him to ask him, is it okay to get a new one? He said that there was something wrong with this. Now, as I showed earlier on, when you try and put down the lever, it was springing back up. But I can see a problem here straight away, that something in there that shouldn't be there, and that is this washer that was throwing everything off center. So he does have a new lad here, so we'll fit him. But firstly, before we fit him, we'll take this out and see what's going on. That washer should not be behind there, but he said there was some messing going on with this, so some fabrication and all. So bring it up to the bench, we'll have a look. And yeah, we'll set up on the bench and see if there's anything wrong with this. Just give this a quick look over and see. This should just simply just turn freely. Free enough anyway. It's fairly stiff there in the middle. So what was going on here now? He said there was some bit of welding or something going on. What's going on there? Yeah, there's a bit of messing going on in there, I think, and that's making it tight. So there should only be a friction pad rubber in there. So yeah. Okay. So I think the best thing to do is just fit the other one. We're missing one bolt. I have them there. This turns nice and free, so that's okay. So a quick look in there with a torch, make sure everything looks okay. Yeah, the control fork is there, nice. It looks perfect. So he said, yeah, the hydraulics were a little bit strange on it. I think it was more down to this lever. Yeah, a little bit of an adjustment you have to do on these on the slot. But it's easy enough to do. Videos on that on YouTube. That should go in handy enough, I'd say. Usually it goes straight in. Yeah, that feels like it's pulled up against the control fork there. So I'll just run and get a few washers for these, and we'll come back. Right, so I've that part fitted. I'm going to give it a start. I just took off the radiator. And give it a start, just run it for a minute, see what happens. Just going to put the 9-hole bar on it there. Right, so we'll see if this Alright, it just needs a little bit of an adjustment, that's all. Turn off the engine because there's no coolant in it. It's basically only coming as far as there before it's going back down. Lift arms are going back down, so that's our range of motion there at the moment. So we can adjust that. I'll try pushing it forward from the back. I'll loosen them off and we'll just see, is that going to help. That could be one way out of it fairly handy now. Okay, hammer. Right, so it's quick loosen. Right, tap it forward a bit. Snug them up there. See, is that a bit better? Then I tighten it. Once to move backwards, straight enough, but it still has come forward a little bit. We'll just tighten to it and we'll see what happens. Yeah, tighten to and see. Now it doesn't want to go up at all, so maybe it needs to come back the way, so I'll loosen them. That's interesting. Maybe let that down first. Maybe that was something. Wrong. Still feels very tight. There is something strange inside there that's causing this to go in slantways, and that's probably why you had the washer in there. I think, unless it's just an absolute, it feels very pressurized when it should be, it is pressurized. It's a strange one. So that's very strange. When I loosened him off, the lift went up. Right, so I'll watch that now again. I'm going to tighten that. We'll see what happens. See if that goes down. And it does. There's something not right inside there. Now it comes up. That is strange. That is bloody. I thought it was strange when I was tightening it. It kept moving the opposite way. See if that is better. That's loose. So someone was messing in there. He did say there was someone messing with welding and bars and stuff. Jeez, it's a good one now. So someone's been messing inside there. Now, that's why that washer was in there. It's a strange one. It sure is a strange one. Apart from that, it feels perfect. Where do you start there? He did say the lift top cover was taken off the lift and there was some messing going on with bars and stuff. If it works perfect like that, I'll put in a fibre washer the other side and I'll make a gasket for that to stop water going in. But we'll have to run it past them and see, get more information on what exactly was going on in there. Then I'll put the transfer box on it and I'll lift up a load. And if it works, if it lifts it up and lets it down and works, I mean, next thing is just to make sure that's sealed, stop water going in. I mean, that's probably, unless he wants to start getting into big work, ripping off that cover again and all that. I don't know, but I've got to run that past him. I'm going to have to run it past about getting the whatchamacallit here, the thermostat housing. And I'm probably going to have to run it past him as well about the clutch, so. He was very happy when he heard that the engine was starting and running well. But now all my tidying up wires might have to be pulled apart again because I'll have to probably throw in at least a disc, clutch disc, if not a whole pressure plate. I won't know till I get a split. And that's even if he wants to go do that, I'd say he probably does. So they're the few bits that'll have to be done. But look, it's all doable. My opinion, I wouldn't be splitting the tractor. I take the engine out and get it done. That's what I do. And diesel pump, because that diesel pump was ran for a good while without any oil. It was fairly dry. I'd say the bearings are a little bit noisy, so I don't know. But anyway, that's where we are. I'm going to leave it there for tonight. Don't think there's nothing else I can do. I'm just looking at other things here and there. I want to try and keep it on 4 wheels for a while yet, and then get into those brakes and stuff like that. And I have to wait for this part to come here, have that sourced. So yeah, that's where we're at. So yeah, we'll leave it there for this evening, and sure we'll catch you on the next one. Right, so the owner's coming down tomorrow, so I've got to show him a few bits. I've went and ordered a few more parts, like a new one of these. I'm definitely going to have to do a bit of work on the leak there as well. Bit of a weep. So because of that, I want to do something this evening that's not going to leave this in a state where it can't be started because it's up in a jack or something like that. So I'm going to tackle this wheel hub here. I've loosened off some of the wheel nuts. They were fairly tight. There was two missing. but I do have to get this hubcap off, and I've just routed that there with the usual adjustable spanner and giving it a few whacks. So I think what I'm going to have to do is something similar to what I did on the other side, and that is give this bit of clean down with the wire brush and the drill and get some penetrating fluid in there, and just start tapping. They can be awkward. It's in better condition, the square head is in better condition than the one on the other side. I'll try and get the threads hopefully to loosen up a bit. It's like this wheel has been on for a long time. The nuts were fairly tight. So your Ferguson spanner will do this, but I'd end up making an absolute state of the spanner. So, yeah, we're kind of just, so what's happening every time I hit it is it's just kind of coming straight off. Years of wear has kind of wore the square head, we'll say. Things rubbing off like that have kind of taken a lot of the edge off it. So I don't know. So you have to be careful to try and get this on as snug as possible. These aren't ideal, these adjustable spanners, for any form of when you're hitting them. They just seem to fly straight off the hand. So we'll just try this side here. Maybe it's a little bit better. Don't know. It's where they loosen when you actually tap them. They probably do. I've yet to take a punch to one of them anyway to try and open them that way. I don't like doing that. At least when I take this off, I can actually put it in the vise and file nice and flat, you know, the square edges on it. I've got a bit of a grip on it there, and I don't know if it'll move. Yeah, there we go. They're just a really fine thread. You take your time with them, or get the right spanner, size spanner maybe. But this is nice and heavy. If when you hit this a crack, when you do get a good grip on it, it does send a shock into it. That's what you need. So will there be a split pin on this side? Because there wasn't on the other side. Yeah, there's a split pin there. Really bloody big, really soft. Jesus, I've never been able to take a split pin out that easy. I don't know how that would have held it. It's only a bit of rolled up wire. That's all that is. Anyway, that's a good start. We're that close. We're that bit closer. So this is where we need a lot of white paper and rags. So what we'll do is we'll jack it up, we'll whip off the wheel, hit it up, get it up on the jack, have an axle stand there, we'll throw that underneath it. I've got timbers on the back wheel. I just don't like relying on the jack, especially when there's no handbrake working on this, or parking brake working on this. Some people probably don't bother taking the wheel off to be doing these, but I like to work on the threads as well. Wheel up threads, wheel stud threads. Because just like the other side, they're really, really, really stiff. So a quick rub of a wire brush really works wonders. Now look, is it very important? No, of course it's not. It just saves you breaking it back, tightening them and loosening them. These fought me. I didn't record loosening them, but you know when you put your big breaker bar on and you push and there's a big crack, when it finally goes and loosens and that crack goes right into your wrist. Every one of them was like that. You just don't need to get too tight on them. Simple as that. Ask me. Just don't. They don't need it. There's 6 of them, isn't there? 6. You don't need to be going nuts on them. So let that down on the axle stand and on keep her held on the jack as well. There we go. That's the safest way of going about it. So what we'll do is we'll just let down the camera a bit closer and we'll see how we get on. So this is the, so put down this bit of timber. Okay, so the grease, it's easier to wipe it off. A bit of dirty, I won't even bother wiping it off, a dirty bit of timber. So we'll just clean our back here and see what we have with the split pin out of it, if you want to call it a split pin. A bit of curled up wire. Plenty of free play in them anyway. Or that's actually the bottom of the king pin. This side doesn't actually feel too bad, but I feel in the grease. I do have a new grease seal bought for it. So I'll let the camera down a little bit more actually. There's no point in looking at it sideways. You may as well be looking at what's going on. It's a little bit less boring, I suppose. Anyone who's watched the videos on the 35X have been up there. And I suppose Go Belly and even my own 20 diesel here. I think there's videos up of me doing the front wheel bearings and all of them. So it's not going to be at you haven't probably seen before on this channel or on other channels, but it is always better to, this seems to be nicely adjusted. It is always better when you can see what's going on. It's a bit tight, but I have to say it seems to be adjusted well anyway, the bearings. So see what state the grease seal is in on the back of this now. Those are castellated nut, fairly well chewed up. I have a better one there for stuck, but it's probably usable again. Someone's been getting a bit angry with it. Okay, might need to just get my picks there and pull out the slotted washer. These picks are handy. Now, do we have a slotted washer is the question. Or is that just a bearing? That's just a bearing. There's no slotted washer on this at all. That's not 100%. Or is it? Should be. Oh, that's a slotted washer. Good. Don't like the idea of that nut running right up against the bearing. That's not ideal now. This thing is fairly tight in there. This is just catching. Usually come out handy enough. Of course you can't just pull them straight out, you kind of have to get in it on both sides. Okay, there we go, we're on the way. Okay. Really catchy in the slot. I might have to clean him up a bit because I don't want him catching and me not feeling the bearing. It's getting adjusted. So I might just give him a rub of foil each side of that slot The slot is only there just to stop it turning. If it's too tight and you're tightening in, you might think your bearings are getting lovely and adjusted, and in fact it could just be that getting caught. This seems to be fairly I've never really had to do that with them before. Now they usually come out handy. Okay. Our grease seal isn't too bad, but there's a lot of wear on it, so we'll definitely go and replace it since we have a new one bought for it. And after that we'll just look, see what condition these are in good condition, yeah, by the looks of things I think, are they? Definitely usable again anyway. Looking, there's no pitting on them. Washing the parts, washing out, fresh grease, and we're good to go with them I think. Yeah. Feels nice as well. Feels smooth. A little bit worn, but I don't think that's going to be anything worth getting worried about. Okay. So a quick look now at the inner race, at the outer bearing. Yeah, that looks good as well. So that's good news. We don't have to go ordering bearings. Okay, so I suppose I'll put it up into the vise. We'll have to tap this out. I usually have to tap out the outer race of the bearing, and that'll push the whole lot out. A bit annoying, unless, yeah, no, I have to do that. I think I have to do that. I might be able to get away with getting a pry bar in and pull it out that way, but regardless, we'll get it into the vise and have a look. We can be lucky, and this is to save us having to take out the whole fucking inner race of the bearing. That's the old style one with the metal on it there anyway, that's for sure. Okay. So the bin now, unfortunately. I'll take a look in here and see what condition the bearing's in. The grease is actually fairly good. Yeah, bearing feels good. Worn, but yeah, grease is nice and clean. Well, it's not. It's worn. It's dirty, as in it's not dirt in it, but it goes that kind of black colour. But it's perfectly fine. It's going to do its thing. Okay, so that grease is it's good. It's good to see that. So I'm not even going to bother putting this in the parts washer. I'm just going to wipe out most of that old grease. I'm not even going to call it dirty grease, it's just old. Wipe out most of that and get a look at that outer race. I think I had to replace the outer race on the other one with a better second hand one I had in stock there, but just it was the factory Timken one. Yeah, so that's more than good enough, like. It's not far away, like. There's no pitting on it whatsoever. No pitting. Get the port real quick. You know, if you don't see any mad pitting or anything, like that, you see a nice, clean, smooth surface. You know, go with it. Degreaser wipes here and just give the bearing a better. Again, rubber mats, otherwise this thing would be in smithereens. Okay. Open up these. Dirty job, there's very little getting away from that. See some of these rollers actually fall out of them. So this one isn't too bad when you push in. The back there, like when it's going to be adjusted, it's good enough. Okay. Yeah. That can be used again. There's nothing really, those rollers are cleaning up lovely, like. There's no water. That seal really saves things. It goes to show how important the seals are. Kept everything clean. So we'll plonk him back in. We'll just literally put a bit of fresh grease over him there. And yeah, I've one there with a dessert spoon. I'll spoon in a bit of grease. Plenty of it in there. Dirty job. What can you do? Has to be done. See yourselves there. Once they're greased and the grease seal is in the back of them, it really does keep them right. So we'll get the new grease seal. We'll tap it in. That bit of grease that I have there will just help it. I don't have to do any cleaning there whatsoever. I can see it's perfect. I ran my finger around and it's no scratches or rubs or anything like that. So we'll tap in the new seal, put more grease in there, and then we'll have a look at the other side. So let's get the other seal. Right. Okay, spring to the oil or to the grease, wherever it has to keep in. That's the rule. Okay, that's always good. I don't feel that much. We'll get a bit of a hammer. Just feel with your fingers that it's going in fairly level, because if it's going crooked you end up destroying them. So I'll get my big flat washer now and I'll tap it in. Okay. Okay, that's it. That's all it is. Simple as that. Now, fire in a little bit of grease. And grease up to it. Plenty of grease, plenty of grease. Stops water coming in, keeps it dirt out, all that. Plenty of grease. You never give out about too much grease. There's more greasing, there'll be less repairing. We'll get a look now at what's happening at the front here. I'll give everything a quick clean out. I have to say the difference on this side compared to the other is madness. It's crazy. Outer race, perfectly usable again. Shiny, no pitting. The odd little stress mark of it, but when you run your finger over that you can't feel it. That's perfectly acceptable. Right, so we get the other parts up and just give them a clean and have a look. So that, we're going to slot him a little bit better. Get this bearing just a little better of a clean. Perfectly usable again. Timken bearings, perfectly usable. Right, so this we said was just a little bit catchy, so we can just put a little bit of a V in him there, a little bit more, take a bit of the wit out of him, because as I was saying, he gets jammed, you think you're pushing your bearing into that taper and you're not. So just for the sake of a rub of a small file, we'll do that, and we'll get him just a little bit narrower there. It's a lovely heavy washer. I really did put the material in, lovely thick heavy metal washer, yeah. Let's get a small set of detailed files here. Let's rub a bit off him. Bit of the wit off him, so we can feel that bearing going. Even that will do. It's just to take the very corner off him. Right. Okay, is it time to reassemble? Seems like the easiest one I've ever done, but mind you, it's one of the best ones I've ever seen. Don't mind wear on these, remember they are roller taper bearing. So I'll clean that off as well. Clean her off, make sure everything's looking good on it. Clean out the slot there, make sure that's clean, nothing stopping the slot or washer from moving, that's alright. Sealing surface on here, make sure that's okay. Good. These whites make short work cutting through grease, I can tell you. Okay. Make sure that's good and dry and I can see what's happening. Okay, so that's good, right? That's all looking good. This surface is a little bit rough for my liking in there. Unless that's the sealing surface there, I don't know, I think that's the bearing surface. I always thought that was the sealing surface, a little bit rough. But we are only trying to keep grease in and water out. I think it should be fine. I don't think there's any need for me to be going hitting it with a wire brush and a drill. I don't think that's going to go doing anything to help it at all. So we'll drop the camera down nice and low there and we'll start fitting this back together. Okay, we should be ready to fit this on. So, let me see. What we'll do is plenty of grease in the back of it there, so that's okay. That's fitting on there, lovely. Oh, lovely. That new seal feels nice. Right, we'll start putting in a bit of grease in here. Messy as hell, but sure, look, once it goes in, who cares? And then we'll work on the hubcap then after this. Get that squared up a little bit. Well, it's behind them, that's what harm. No harm at all. Considering they were awkward to get off. So rub a bit into the rollers. Oh yeah, that's the feeling we want. Lift up, push in an ideal world. That's a little bit stiff, so we get a socket at that. Give it a tap in. Alright, that's so hard to push in. Maybe that's why it was hard to come off. Okay. That's going to have to go in a little bit easier than that, I'm afraid, otherwise we won't be able to get an adjustment on it. Yeah, we'll just grab something to tap that in a bit. That is a little bit strange. I don't know what's catching that. Maybe that's about right. It feels like it's actually adjusted a bit nearly. But on this, a bit of filings are to help in that, I think. Yeah. Another nut. Just have to get a nice split pin for this now. These threads aren't the greatest now on this, but it should oblige us. And they go free then after a while. So we'll tighten that in a bit too much, like that, and we can let it off then. Okay, it's getting stiff there now. Too stiff, and that's what we want. And then we can let it off. Be happier. Where would I be happiest with that now? With the castellated nut, we don't have. You can't do the finest of fine tuning on it. Yeah, I'm happy with that. See if our hole is lined up with that. Seems to be. So we'll get a nice split pin, fill the rest of that with grease. On the hubcap, squared it off a bit, deepen it a bit. It's not too bad, but we'll just do a quick rub, make it easier, and the next person has to take it out or wants to put a bit of grease in it. So I'll go and get a split pin and we'll come back. Right, this is one that was used before, but it's good and strong. That's what I like about it, and it should fit in where we need it to fit in fairly well. Only thing is, with these you do have to, if possible, get them in far enough, nice and snug, because you don't want that hubcap catching them. kind of bend down in there to that space there in the castellated nut fairly neatly. There's a strange twist on it, I have to say. Well, that's a bit better. Strange twist on it. Okay. Might have to snip a bit off this lad there, unless we can bend him forward. Sometimes you see lads doing that. Bend one leg in, bend the other one around. That's the one bent in. And that's the one bent around. So that's one way lads like doing it. Hard to see. Bend that leg inwards, catch him in one of the grooves, and bend the other head there, and then bend him around. Some people like doing it that way. Now, so we'll get working on this lad now on the vise. We'll just clean him up a little bit. He's not too bad, but he's actually really good. Won't have to do anything. Actually, he's perfect. He was just too tight, that's all. So what we'll do is, nearly out of grease in this cartridge. I just need to get the spoon down to the end. Scoop up the last bit of it there, may as well use it up. That'll be loads, and whatever's in the cap there as well. We'll just try to screw it in, make sure nothing's in the way. Sometimes your split pins can stop her going in. Lovely. In this country we drive in the left, and I suppose the left hand side of the track is in the ditch side, so it's hitting kind of rougher part of the road and all that, and that does end up taking its toll as well. So maybe that's why the grease seal on the other side was shagged. This side was still doing its thing. We're only going to get a bit of a tighten on this because the hub will turn, but that'll do till we get the wheel on. And lovely. So I'll do a bit of tidying up. We'll throw on the wheel, let it down, give him a final nip, and any of that extra the grease there we can put on those threads, and that'll make life easier. Okay, so let's do a bit of tidy up, get the wheel back on. We'll see if we can do something else then. Okay, I can go ahead and take off this thermostat housing. I have to take out that brass blank. That's for a temperature gauge line, because they don't give you them in the new one, and you can have that much done. They're all just 1/2 inch coarse thread. Yeah, so I can be cleaning up the end of the cylinder head here as well. Right down into the cradle. Wow, that's fucking tight. That doesn't feel great at all. It's coming, but it feels like the threads are very bad out. And that is tight as hell as well. My God. Hopefully there won't be drilling and tapping involved with this now. Seriously tight. Might get another extension on that to save the hands. Hitting the fan blades the whole time. Jesus Christ. That's madness. No need for that. How they didn't ring and tightened that much is beyond me. Yeah, Christ above. It's only aluminium, like. Holy God, that's a workout. Fighting me the whole way. Christ above. Swinging out of it. That's a bit overkill now, that. That'll get the sweat flowing. Maybe that was leaking before a bit and they were just tightening and tightening and tightening. See what condition things are in anyway. This was the first one, wasn't it? I found hard to loosen. I think I'll have to get a Dremel down in there now. To them threads. Tie them. Make these bolts go in easier. Because second, where are we focusing at all? A lot of dirt on that. Now you do get that in aluminium, but that's probably what it is. It's probably never removed, I'd say. You have that kind of build up of aluminium. Really dry and grippy. But the aluminium isn't threaded, it's just... You can see what it does to the threads. Kind of really fills them. You get the same on the rear end of the tractor as well. It's going into the gearbox there. The bolts come out and they're all coated. Threads are all coated with basically what you see there. Kind of dry, kind of dusty. I'll definitely put the anti-seize on them anyway when I'm putting them back in and give them a good clean up in the vise, because my God. That's cruel. This one's grand for some reason. Right, is that all out? Yeah. Try and keep the gasket coming off easy as possible anyway. The problem with this is it fits very, very, very tightly behind your water pump. So trying to get your gasket without it moving is an issue. So I usually find I have to file in behind there. There's a big lump there. So when you put it down, the gaskets, this goes down, the gasket's pinched and stays up. That's the issue with this part. Especially the new ones, there's usually a bit of filing involved to get the lines kind of meeting up and all of that. Yeah. It's not the worst one I've seen, they usually always go there anyway. See bits of it breaking off there. And then they usually leak out through, so you have to put copper washers on. But yeah, look, we'll get it into the vise and get that lad out of it there now, because he's not in the new one. Getting these out can be equally as challenging, because these suffer from the same thing as well. That dry, dusty kind of a coating that's on them. So I'm going to grab this, and the way And it can be hard to grab them in a way that doesn't damage them as well. Yeah, it's hard to know what way to grab him there to get him out. Maybe something like that. Will that do it? What are we talking about? 11/16 maybe. Let's see if that one will shift. Not confident now how that's held in there, being aluminium as well. Give it a go and see. These are usually welded in. Brass and aluminium get a good grip on one another. Must have been for the hotter countries that they had this option to add a temperature gauge in for fear of overheating, but I don't think the 20Ds will now run that hot. Thermostats are about 82 degrees Celsius, well below boiling point. But you put that in a country, I suppose, that's 40 odd degrees Celsius, I definitely probably bring it up. You probably want to keep an eye for temperature. It might tell you then that your radiator's blocked or whatever, as in whatever, if you're in a dusty field or whatever, be blocking the fins. It's not too bad. Sometimes taking this out actually ruins the threads in the aluminium, like so. But these are actually good. There's a fibre washer on there. Look at it. Torch. So it's not too bad. It's perfectly usable again. Just can't really say the same for the part is too far gone, unless you were to get that on lathe or on the milling machine and flatten it loads and loads and loads. One of the things you'd probably end up having to flatten across there, but if you did that you'd probably be able to save it, but you'd probably have to take an awful lot off it. The bodywork filler did a good job, but I just couldn't get it to seal. There's only so much time I can spend rooting at them. I was going to say I can make up a gasket using this, but I'm better off using the new one. So what we can do here is we can give this a clean up and we can get a sealing washer ready first. I'd say, what kind of sealing washer would you want? That's the question. Would you want copper be too hard on it? Be swinging over it to try and get a copper to seal. That is the beauty of brass. It does clean up well. That's perfect. Right, so I might go over here with a scraper and just have a look at the head, shove in a bit of white paper to stop dirt going in. We have the workshop hoover then to hoover out anything that does go in. I'm going to start scraping off some of that gasket. I'm doing some of the leg work here now because I know that it has to be done. So I'll take off this pipe as well. I'll get a 7mm and take him off. I know from fitting these that, you know, it's not straightforward. They just don't line up very well, but they're a really good part. That's one thing about it. There's plenty of meat in where the gaskets go. You know, it's good and thick. But I know in behind there, you usually end up struggling with gaskets. So if we get this gasket off as much as possible in one piece, make the cleaning all the easier, and it'll mean to be less dirt and stuff. Going into the head. Let's get the sharper knives for that. But yeah, we'll get him cleaned up anyway. I really don't like disturbing thermostat housings like we were the one up here going to the top ones to put in the thermostat, because I find it's the same story every time. You're struggling to get them to bloody seal afterwards. So what was the alternative? Not fit a thermostat, have the engine running way too cold? That's just going to wear out the engine too quick. So you just have to sometimes go through it and start leveling down these gasket surfaces. It takes a bit of time and a bit of work, but just fine when it's your own tractor, but when someone else's, you put it back together and then you bring it for a test drive. And you see it leaking again, and off comes the radiator and all the pipes. And those get time consuming after a while. Yeah, I'd say this was never taken off in its life, judging by how things are looking here. Try and get that off in one piece. Make the light handier. We're meeting up there with the rocket cover gasket there as well. Lovely. Those factory gaskets, the ones that are fitted in factory, they sure are good. You think you have it clean, then you find another layer of it. So it can be hard to clean in behind that water pump there. The Dremel will help that. But that's where they like to leak, so there's no option but to do it right. Because whatever we're taking off the top of the thermostat housing, that bit we had off a few times, you have to go taking this off now. It's a right pain, because you have to lift up your fuel tank and all of that then. Right. So yeah, we're just going to have to take our time. Take our time. So I can come back when I have this cleaned, and we'll put a bit more white paper in there as well, and yeah, we'll see how we get on. Okay, got the Dremel in there as well. So now it's very important to get the bottom here nice and flat, and you can't get your finger in. It's too narrow, so I wrap sandpaper around this gasket scraper because it's got a nice flat edge on it, and it just gets you in behind there, just to give it that little bit of a polish. So your Indian head and your gasket stick to it. I don't think you even get a gasket with this part, so I have to make one. But you do have to make sure that's where they like to leak, right down there. Dremel in there while I still had the white paper in, and give everything a good clean back. I also trimmed off the rocker cover gasket because you don't want a piece of that sticking down either, or your part will be sitting proud and it'll guarantee to leak. So we don't want that. So yeah, it's cleaning up a bit there now, alright. Make sure it's good enough. Last thing I want to do is take off too much. Now, not there's much chance of me doing that with this cast iron, but so make sure it is. Just to polish it, just to get that little bit of black off. Make sure there's no burrs on the edges as well. That'll keep the part sticking proud, and that'll guarantee it's a make as well. So that's probably good enough there. What else can we do with that now? Yeah, we said we had to take off a bit in there as well because I'm going to have to. That's when I get the part. So I'm just going to start filing back a little bit in there as well. So that's where we're going to leave it for this evening, and we'll tip out a few more bits and pieces there now in the coming days. So I think the owner's calling tomorrow there just to have a listen to it running. The cooling system isn't on it, so I'll be able to run it for 3 or 4 minutes anyway without going too crazy with revs or anything like that, but just to give them an idea how it sounds and how it's starting. So that's where we'll leave it, and we'll pick up from here in the next one.